Are you moving to Florida and are wondering how do I set up residency in the state of Florida? I'm going to give you a real quick video of 11 ways that you can file for residency in state of Florida, followed by 11 taxes that are imposed by the state on you as an individual. This is going to be our residency and tax guide. Hi, I'm Ryan Zachos with Zachos Realty Design Group out of Sarasota, Florida. We have an office in downtown Sarasota, downtown Venice. I was born and raised here, and a lot of our business is helping people relocate from other states to the state of Florida. Part of that help is allowing them and helping them set up for permanent residency in the state of Florida. I have 11 things that you can do in order to set up that permanent residency, but then I'm also going to give you an additional value in taxes that are imposed by the state. So I'll give you a guide on that. This guide is available on our website, zachosre.com, zachosre.com. Under free guides, you'll see a tax and residency guide. That'll have all the details and the actual addresses in which you can do some of this information. I'm going to fly through it real fast for you just to give you a good overview and some good insight, but please go to the website, download that form, it's free. And I actually have other relocation guides, one for Lakewood Ranch, for Sarasota. We have golf community guides. We have all these different relocation guides for free on our website, so go check it out. So let's dive right in. The first thing that you can do to set up permanent residence in the state of Florida is to obviously buy real estate. Once you buy real estate and you close on that real estate, Florida recognizes that you are a real estate landowner, that you own real estate in the state of Florida. The second thing that you can do based on that purchase of land, if you're going to reside at the property more than 50% of the year and it's going to become your permanent resident, which I highly recommend doing, that you want to set up homestead, the homestead exemption. I don't know if you're familiar with homestead, but homestead is a wonderful benefit to being a permanent resident in the state of Florida. Homestead exemption has two different things that it does that is a benefit to you. One is it reduces the assessed value of your home by $50,000. If your home value is $400,000, instead of being taxed on $400,000, it's a reduction of $50,000, so you're only being taxed at $350,000. It's a big savings on your taxes. And then the second thing it does is it actually caps on how much your taxes can increase year over year. Two great benefits, definitely set that up. And so that's number two, is file for a homestead exemption. Number three is file a declaration of domicile in Florida. The declaration of domicile is a sworn bona fide statement saying that you are a Florida resident. You can do that at the county clerk, whether it's Sarasota, Manatee, or whatever county you're moving into, but there is a domicile form that you can do that. Number four, register to vote. We're going to talk about 4, 5, and 6 kind of all go hand in hand, but once you obtain your Florida driver's license, which is number 5, you can register to vote, and then you're going to obviously register that auto. Those are 3 things right then and there that you can do all at once via the DMV, the local DMV, and whatever municipality that you're looking at move to. Obtain a Florida driver's license, register to vote, which you can do that, and then register your auto. The last 5 things I'll fly through real quick. At the same time, you're going to change your auto insurance. So once you register your auto, you're going to change your automobile insurance. You're going to now include your Florida address on your tax return with the IRS. So you're basically telling the IRS here that I am now a permanent resident of the state of Florida. And at the same time, you're going to file a non-residency tax return in the former state that you came from. So that's telling that state that you're no longer a permanent resident and that now Florida is now my permanent residency. A couple other things that you can do is establish some clubs to be part of and churches. So if you are giving to memberships regarding clubs or you're giving a tithe regarding churches, these are things that you can do to show that you are now active and participating in the state of Florida. And then number 11, which kind of goes, we talked about it up front, is you want to live in Florida most of the year. So legally you have to live in Florida for more than 50% of the year, and that will allow you to then go ahead and claim your Florida residency as a permanent resident. But let's dive right into the taxes that are imposed by the state of Florida. I'm going to give you 11 of these taxes and what they are and what those rates are. The sales and use tax. The Florida imposes overall a 6% general sales and use tax of tangible personal property and leases of residential real property for periods of 6 months or fewer. So that 6% is the state. Then there's the local taxation on top of that. In our area, it's about 1%. So we're looking at a total of about 7% for sales and use tax for our area. And that's pretty common. It might go up or down a point or two, but it's within that realm. So 6% goes to the state of Florida. The real property tax This is a tax that's imposed on real estate. I like to give this rule of thumb for people that are purchasing. A lot of our relocation buyers always ask me, what can I expect my taxes to be on the real estate side? I like to give that idea for that purchase price of your home or the assessed value of your home being about 1.25% will be the tax rate on that. There's a lot of different local taxes that go into that. That varies by county, but it's a kind of a general rule of thumb that I like to give you a good idea of what that might look like. If you're buying a $500,000 house, this is off the top of my head, so don't hold me to it, but let's call it about $6,000 a year in taxes. Obviously, you get a homestead exemption if you're going to homestead, and that will reduce the tax rate as well. Also, locally, there are communities that impose a CDD fee, so that's lumped into your tax bill. That would actually up your taxes as well, even though a portion of that would be the CDD, so before the community itself. But that gives you a good idea, and it does vary, like again, by whether you're in the city, the county, what county you're in, what city you're in, but that's a good idea, rule of thumb that you can go by. 3 is tangible personal property tax. That kind of goes without saying. An estate tax, number 4. Number 5, a corporate income tax. This corporate income tax varies depending on whether, how you're filing your business. You can subtract your inventory from that, but there are some different things you can do on that. Depends how you file your business and what your business is titled as with the IRS. Definitely check with your CPA to make sure you are doing everything you can on the tax for the taxes imposed to the business. 6, personal income tax. This is actually a wonderful perk to Florida. Florida does not have a personal income tax. It is prohibited by the Florida Constitution. This is a huge benefit and a reason why people want to make Florida their primary residence. In a lot of higher taxation states, you're getting hit with a very large or high personal income tax. In the state of Florida, it is not imposed. Huge benefit to the state of Florida, but something to definitely take note. Number 7, dock stamp tax. This happens when you purchase real property in the state of Florida. The state does impose a dock stamp tax. This helps in whether it's a quitclaim deed or statutory deed. Florida does impose this tax. It is 0.007 of the purchase price of that home. This is typically in the state of Florida based off of the contracts that are written. It is paid for by the seller. And then there's going to be an intangible tax that is paid for on the buyer's side. It has to do with mortgages. So even if your mortgage is not held in the state of Florida, it doesn't matter if you're purchasing real property in the state of Florida, that tax will still be imposed. Dock stamp tax and intangible tax on the mortgage. Buyer takes the mortgage side, obviously the one obtaining the mortgage, and the dock stamp is going to be on that transfer of the deed, and the settlement is going to be paid for by the seller typically. Number 9, corporate income tax. Number 10, a tourist development tax. If you are a landowner or a tenant, basically, if in the state of Florida, because it is a high tourism state, they impose a tax on all short-term rentals. So short-term rentals are anything deemed that are less than 6 months in a term. A couple days, day, week, month, even, for here, our season is 3-4 months a year. There is a 5% tourism development tax imposed on short-term rentals. And then 11, a local business tax, which is obviously pretty common as well throughout the country. So that gives you a good idea of what taxation looks like in the state of Florida. And I gave you a little bit of insight, maybe based on our area, without even in greater detail, what might that look like. Obviously, I'm a real estate broker. I'm not a CPA, so I highly recommend getting with someone if you have any additional questions regarding residency and taxes. But I wanted to give you at least a little bit of a guide. This information came from a local attorney that we work regularly. And if you're looking to relocate, obviously I would love to be a resource for you. Like again, I was born and raised here and would love the opportunity to help you in finding your home and helping you set up residency. Look forward to talking to you soon. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks. Bye.